We've been talking about intimacy anorexia with Dr. Douglas Weiss. Now joining us is our friend, psychiatrist Dr. Ish Major, because there are so many elements to this conversation. Intimacy anorexia, that's a term that you coined. In more common parlance, we might say a lack of passion also, and fear, so many elements. And as we were talking in our briefing, every single person at some point in their life, if you've been with a partner long enough, you're going to suffer from some element of emotional disconnect. Yeah. So let's broaden this conversation, because if you, I don't know anyone.
Why do we back off?
And why do we back off, and how do, because you can skin a cat many different ways, but it inevitably happens, does it not?
Well, it's like we're saying in psychiatry, it's complicated, right? trying to feel sexy in your relationship is like trying to stay sober in your life. It's a daily decision, and you've got to be very intentional about how you're going to do that today. So we make this assumption that because we're in love, and because you know me and I know you, you automatically know the thing that's going to make me happy. And that's just not what it is. So when we're talking about staying in connection, what we're really talking about when we talk about intimacy, a little empathy goes a long way. Mm-hmm. You just got to care.
Dr. Weiss, you were saying earlier, in an earlier segment, you were talking about how you work at intimacy. Can you mention some of the things you work at and how you maintain that in your life?
Absolutely. You want to keep your marriage healthy. You want to date once a week or every other week, okay? You want to have sex regularly, eyes open, lights on, nurturing, connecting sex. Mm-hmm. You want to be able to have a spiritual connection of whatever kind that is for you, okay? And you got to share your heart. You have to share your feelings every day, okay? Marriage is a daily discipline, okay? You either have discipline or you end up paying a therapist, okay?
You got to communicate, but it can't.
It's like you can stay in shape or go see a doctor, right?
How do you, let me ask the two of you, because I do think there's a difference between intimacy and passion. Now, maybe for you, Dr. Weiss, you'll say they're the same, but I know a lot of people, you know, they're real passionate really early on in a relationship, and they say, oh, the passion fades. So if you are able to reconnect and get back to that intimacy, how do you get that passion as a part of that? Because you can, I looked at Brandon and Angie, and I could see a love there. I could see a connection. And so for them to be that connected, there clearly at some point was at least an emotional intimacy.
Absolutely.
How do you reconnect the physical passion? Because the hurt feelings seem to me to be pushing them apart a little bit. So passion with that intimacy. Can you guys address that?
Well, I mean, for me, I think you hit two things. One is you got to have some good conflict management so that you don't hate each other, okay? All right,
That's a good start.
You got to be able to talk. And oftentimes, when you talk about an issue, you're talking about the feelings about the issue. So I have this thing where I teach couples how to do conflict by talking about your emotions and then talk about the problem so you can get that over with. Secondly, when you have this kind of steady kind of intimacy of connection emotionally, it's not hard to jump up to hot. If you're down here in function ship on kind of cold to ice cold, it's really hard to go to hot, okay? So you got to keep it warm to go to hot. Does that make sense?
I like that.
And passion's not going to happen every time, but man, it's going to happen a lot more. I can still look at my wife and go, yeah, baby, you know, and
That's true too, but the other thing you've got to manage is the rejection, right? I've come to you, you're not in the mood, you're rejecting me. So now I'm taking that personally, but if you can stop and ask yourself this one question in that moment, what else could it be? What else could be going on here that's not me doing something wrong or not them being attracted to me? It could be they're just having a bad day. They could be stressed. I don't feel sexy
going on
today.
with you?
What's going on with you?
Going on with
and
you?
there are 9
Let's
other
talk
things
about
on
it.
that list to get to the
that's
big point.
Good point.
Right?
And when that happens, you back off.
Right. What else could it be other than you rejecting me in this moment? And a lot of times, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, we suck at the foreplay.